Boom! It's a Thursday. It's Bar Thursday, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yay!
never get tired of bars. And again, Thursday continues to be my favorite day of the week for this reason. When I was in college, I mean, Thursday meant nothing to me when I was in high school, but when I got to college and I understood that Thursday was Bar Thursday, everything changed for me.
Yeah.
Everything. Yes. Anne, what is new in Michigan?
Nothing.
Okay.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Oh, no, nothing. I was trying to think maybe something exciting happened, but nothing exciting happened. No. It's yeah. Oh, U of M isn't having a season this year, a football season, so there is much gnashing of teeth here in Ann Arbor. And of course, neither is MSU, so the entire state is in deep mourning.
Yeah, well, that's the same here because University of Minnesota is also part of the Big Ten. So, yes, they are in mourning here as well. Yeah, a lot of wailing and gnashing of teeth about all of this, but I don't know what to tell people. It's okay. It's just for a little while. It's not forever.
Maybe you can have one in the spring. I don't know. I just, yeah.
And I think that's what the Big Ten is doing this year. I think they're holding off until spring. So, yay. And who knows, Anne? Maybe we'll find that spring football is the football that we've always wanted.
Maybe.
Maybe we'll
I
find that online education is the type of education that we always wanted. I don't know. I liked it. I love not having to get in a car and drive forever to get to class and then sit in a class that's uncomfortable and oftentimes doesn't have snacks. It was nice to be able to sit at, of course, I was an adult when I was doing this, but as an adult, I really like it. Yeah. So if I was in kindergarten, I would think it sucks. But what are you going to do?
I was going to say, when I got my massage certification, part of my class was online. There was like a component of it, I think about 100 hours out of 800 hours was online. And I did not like it. I thought it was very thrown together and haphazard. But I'm sure you guys are doing much better.
I don't know. I ran into one of my 8th graders yesterday, and he said he liked it. So,
there you
go. I'll take it.
High praise from Caesar. What are you going to do?
I know, right? So, Anne, because it's Bar Thursday, and because we are a classy pair of sisters, we have chosen a delicious beverage for today. That delicious beverage, and we're going to go ahead and bring it up on the screen today, is everybody's favorite treat. Whoops, I got to bring it on the screen. It is Moscato. That's right, Moscato. I'm going to go ahead and bring, yes, I'm drinking a juice box of Moscato. And that's what I love about being alive right now, is that I can get a container of wine that looks like a juice box, like I'm 5. Like, nope, except I'm 50.
Well,
Almost
how
50.
else are you going to like subtly advertise to children that anything that comes in a box is appropriate to drink? So you graduate from juice boxes to wine boxes.
I'm down with that. I think it's smart, saving time, totally. Anyway,
it's the candy cigarette of wine.
It is. Now I have to admit, the Moscato boom kind of started up about 5-6 years ago. It really hit America hard, and I have to admit, American Moscato is my only paradigm of Moscato. So when I was doing my research on Moscato, I was surprised to learn that Moscato deserves way better. That Moscato is actually really much nicer than we treat it here in the States. So as you can see from my intro today, it says, "Dear Moscato, you deserve better." Here we go. All right. So it is surprising because because like here I am drinking my Moscato right now, and I would describe my Moscato as almost sweet to a fault. So it almost hurts me to drink this right now. Right now, my pancreas is rejecting me. So, anyway, so when you go down your Moscato aisle at the local liquor store, you will be bombarded with the two ones that I found constantly were Barefoot and Cupcake. And they basically shower you with various kinds of pink Moscatos and orange Moscatos and red Moscatos and yellow Moscatos. So I chose this pink Moscato in the juice box, but I also chose Barefoot's tiny plastic bottles. So it's like a little, like a snack pack of wine that you drink. And this is honeysuckle peach. So you can just that's right, it's fruit wine. And as you can see, I've got my little homage to Moira Rose with her grab of apple wine. So anyway, when you go to your local liquor store, you're going to essentially be bombarded with these cheap boxes and mini bottles and various receptacles that have some sort of fruity, super sweet Moscato. And that's what you're going to probably end up buying and drinking unless you don't like that sort of thing. So, but as far as the history of Moscato, so before Moscato went through what, again, homage to Schitt's Creek, the peachification process, it was really a legit classic wine. In fact, Anne, you told me that, this is a grape that's been cultivated for over 800 years, and that these grapes were probably originally cultivated as far back as the ancient Egyptians. So
it's like
this is
one
really
of the earliest cultivated grapes is the Moscato grape.
Yep, the Moscato family of grapes, and specifically this Moscato Bianco, which is an Italian wine, and it's been cultivated for, centuries. And again, I think part of it is that there's nothing old in the United States, unless you start talking native cultures. Those are the old things. Everything else in terms of Western civilization is really young. It's Europe. Eddie Izzard, the comedian, jokes that Europe, where the history is. And so, you've got this grape that's been cultivated for centuries or even millennium, depending, on its origins. And so you have this really delicious Moscato Bianco, and this Moscato Bianco becomes the base for Moscato d'Asti, which is, a sparkling wine. And it's that sparkling wine that caught America's attention, say, 5 or 6 years ago, and that has slowly but surely been ground down into this current version of Moscato that I'm sucking on so religiously right now. So, yeah. So, unfortunately, in America, we tend to take things like this and we kind of, I guess you would say, Americanize it. So that's what we've done here. So this Moscato that I'm drinking right now it's Moscato by name only, but it's certainly not Moscato in the true sense. So if you wanted to do that, you would need to go go to one of the better aisles in your liquor store and look for Italian wines and look for a true Moscato. And they do exist. You can find a good Moscato at a liquor store. You just have to ask for it. Just have like a traditional Italian Moscato, please, nothing from Barefoot or Cupcake. Okay. And, my Aunt Julie is not my Aunt Vicky is not on board with this conversation because she is a Moscato lover. And talk to us about the Moscato you're drinking right now.
I'm drinking the Cupcake Moscato. This is the first Moscato I ever had, introduced to me by my Aunt Vicky, who loves a sweet wine. And when I was doing a little research on Moscato, of course, it is kind of, it's a low alcohol wine because it's so sweet. So usually like 5 to 7% alcohol, which is really low for wine. It was described as a patio pounder. So,
this is why everybody hates us.
So we've taken a centuries-old Italian wine and made it so basic that we can pound it on our patio. So so sweet, yummy. Keep going. I'm surprised they don't have like a skinny bitch Moscato. That surprises the heck out of me.
Oh my God, I'm sure they have a skinny bitch Moscato. Anyway, guys, I've moved on from my pink Moscato. I've moved on to the honeysuckle peach, and it's amazing. It hurts a little bit. I'm never getting to sleep tonight because of all the sugar in these wines. Whew. Anyway, patio pounder.
Pounder.
That's the thing.
Definitely, it's like definitely insinuates that it's a girl drunk, basically. So, because you definitely aren't going to see a bunch of dudes on, doing the patio pounder. Also, seems like we should have some yacht rock playing as we're pounding our drinks on the patio.
I would agree that this is absolutely yacht rock wine. So anyway, if you're not a big wine drinker, but you want to drink with your friends, then you're definitely going to go with the Moscato. I would call it an excellent starter wine.
Mhm.
So there you go. As you can see, I've got, the baby bottles with wine in them. Not saying you should feed wine to your baby, but just saying that if you need something to start with, there you go. Deb Cartwright, if you're watching this, I apologize. Okay. Deb is my friend who actually has taught me that wine can be really good and classic, and it doesn't have to be Moscato. So thanks, Deb.
Well, it can if it's a classic Moscato.
Yeah, I'm sure. The things now I feel like I owe it to myself and Italians to drink and appreciate a really good Moscato and be like, okay, this is what it's supposed to taste like. All right.
It's supposed to be a little sweet. It's just not supposed to be like something you get with 2 scoops of ice cream.
Wine floats, wine smoothies, wine smoothie. So
Yum.
there you go. All right. Anyway, so that's what we're drinking today. We are enjoying the fruits of the Moscato grape, Americanized, and so we did a little trip down memory lane as far as our movie today. I'm going to go ahead and remove that, and I'm going to bring up our next screen. And Anne, why don't you talk about the movie that we are going to be talking about today?
Well, we watched the mockumentary directed by Christopher Guest and written by Christopher Guest and Eugene Levy, the 1996 Waiting for Guffman. It is a comedy, and it is very funny. In fact, he has a whole group of these. He has like, this is Spinal Tap, Best in Show, Mighty Wind. Mm-hmm. So he has a number of these mockumentaries, and most of them, Best in Show isn't, but a lot of them have to do with music or have like a musical element to them. And this one does actually. And it's about the town of Blaine, Missouri, and it is celebrating its sesquicentennial, which is its 150-year anniversary. Thank you. And so they're going to have a big festival and also an original musical about the history of Blaine called Red, White, and Blaine. And what could be even more exciting than the news that reaches the cast that a New York City theater agent named Mort Guffman, Waiting for Guffman as the title says, will be attending. Of course, hilarity and cringe-worthy moments ensue.
Yes. What I love is that when we look at TV, like some revered TV, like The Office and Parks and Rec, those shows, they need to thank, that whole, those are mockumentary style shows, and they have that premise, they have Christopher Guest and this troupe of actors to thank, because, Spinal Tap came out back in like 1980 or 81, Waiting for Guffman in 96. And so these mockumentary style things, kind of these shows like Parks and Rec and The Office, were kind of born from this from this format. So this is really the groundwork for these these really popular legendary TV shows. So there's that.
Yes, they owe their existence to that. Now, as I was watching this, I was trying to come up with a list of the top reasons to watch this, and basically I kept coming back to the actors, because it's a mockumentary and there's a story. They actually have a storyline, but most of the dialogue is improvised. So if you love these movies, you have to love the actors who perform in these movies, because a lot of this is their creation. So I put the top 6 reasons: Catherine O'Hara, Parker Posey, Christopher Guest, Fred Willard, may he rest in peace, Eugene Levy, and Bob Balaban. Sorry, Bob. They're like the 6 main characters, and they are brilliant. And then, of course, they have this whole group of like smaller roles that are just, they do such a great job. So honestly, the best reason to watch this movie are the performances.
Well, what's cool is that if you watch this series, if you watch like Spinal Tap and Waiting for Guffman and Best of Show and Mighty Wind, these actors pop up again and again. So like, Dan Lee or Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara and Christopher Guest and Parker Posey, you see these guys. And what's amazing is the characters that they create. and how different they are from one of these mockumentaries to the next. It really is a testament to their to how good they are as performers. That they really do an amazing job of building these characters, and it's a fascinating, wonderful thing to watch. Here's Crystal Fraley is with us today. Hey, Crystal, how are you? And yeah, I would agree. The Levy family, they're so talented. Eugene Levy, he's got his fingerprints all over Schitt's Creek, along with his son, Daniel, who is really the driving force behind Schitt's Creek. And between the two of them, they have created an ideal place to live. Schitt's Creek is where I want to live when I grow up, because they have created this place that is funny and interesting, but it's also a place that's full of love and warmth. And so, anyway, I'm just gushing about that. But yeah, the Levy family is so incredibly talented, and we see that throughout these works that they do. So right on. All right, why Anne enjoyed this movie?
Well, I love this movie because it reminds me of Covered Bridge Days in Centerville, Michigan, where my grandma lived when we were growing up. And it was this town, it was the county seat, a town of about 1,500. There was a blinking yellow light right next to the courthouse. And every July, was it around the 4th of July?
July, August, somewhere in there. I can never quite remember where.
Beginning of August. Anyway, they always had a big festival with a parade and, like a competitions. There was like a Miss Covered Bridge, I think, or something. And, it was just, there was usually some sort of talent night. And this reminds me, this small town, as they were planning like where the booths go in the courtyard, just like, oh my gosh, it so reminds me. And Jenny and I loved it. We would spend like the entire week with my grandma, and we would walk up the 2 blocks to the downtown by ourselves and play miniature golf, which, oh my gosh, just seemed so remarkable. And it was just a riot. So it reminded me of that. It's definitely small town in all of its glory.
Yes.
And then go ahead.
No, go.
Oh, and I was just, the improvised dialogue, of course, is remarkable, because when you think of just, man, I was trying to write down lines that I loved, but I didn't want to miss anything. So,
right.
It was just, if nothing else, you have to watch it for Midnight at the Oasis, if for nothing else, or for Teacher's Pet. Duncan's like, is this a real song? And it's like, because nowadays you're like, it's really gross.
Well, and for those of you that don't know Ann and I very well, we grew up in a small town in southwest lower Michigan, literally as far south as you can go and not be in Indiana and still be in Michigan. And so, we grew up in Sturgis, Michigan. And then, like I said, my dad grew up in Centerville, Michigan. And then my grandmother lived there for, my grandma and grandpa lived there for years. And so, that whole small town lifestyle is very much a part of who we are. And so what I loved about this is that there are so many things in this movie that are familiar to me. The town itself, the way people act, the way people get excited about things like this, the way that it is literally the most important thing. Like they're having this in-depth discussion looking at the model of the town of where to put the garbage cans. They have to put the big garbage can next to where they're going to have the pie eating contest, obviously.
Obviously.
So I really because in Sturgis they had the Michigan Week parade at Sturgis. They don't do Michigan Week anymore, which is a shame, because that festival was a big deal, and they had sidewalk sales and they had a big ass parade and they had fireworks, and the whole town stopped that week, and it was so fun. Right. Covered Bridge Days and that's what they do so well in this movie, is that they in fact, I'm just going to jump to why Jenny enjoyed this movie, and it's that they nail the small town feel, and at the same time they also nail that small town desperation, that idea that this is as far as I'm ever going to go, and I might want to get out, because like you see that with Parker Posey's character. She plays I can't think of her name, but she plays the one that works at the Dairy Queen, and she does such a great job with just this is kind of my life, and I guess that's okay, and I'm just going to work the DQ and, think about how to make low-fat blizzards, So My favorite
Yeah.
moment of dialogue is with David
Libby
Cross.
May. Her name was Libby May.
Libby May, thank you. Yeah, and it's just, she's so sad, and this means so much to her to be part of this production because it's something so different from her normal existence in town. So I love that. I love David Cross is in the movie. For those of you that have watched Arrested Development, you'll know David Cross. He's the US UFO expert, and he's maybe in the movie for 60 seconds top. But he's talking about this circle in a field where the UFO supposedly landed, and he's talking about the fact that it's, that it gets a little, the diameter and the circumference change every year, but the diameter remains the same, and that the weather is always the same. It's always 68 degrees with a 40% chance of rain. So I enjoy him. At the end, we meet Corky. Corky is Christopher Guest's character. He's the one that is the director, and he's the one that has returned from New York. So he's the big shot director in town. And at the end, he has returned to New York to open a shop where he sells a bunch of his memorabilia. And one of those things he's selling is the Remains of the Day lunchbox, which is funny on so many levels. That because Remains of the Day is this so sad. I can't think of the name of they did a bunch of movies in the mid to late 90s about sad English people.
Rich, sad English people.
Rich, sad English people. And Remains of the Day is about, well, technically it's about the servants of rich, they're sad servants of rich, sad English people. So the fact that they're lunchbox and it's good comedy. The audition scene is it's one of those scenes where it's uncomfortable to watch. It's uncomfortable to watch. But if you've ever sat through small town community theater auditions, I can relate to that very well because I have sat through those auditions. And it's uncomfortable, I gotta tell you. Every word out of Eugene Levy's mouth in this movie cracks me up because he's that awkward guy that's not funny at all and thinks he is funny, and he's not talented at all, but he truly believes he is. Yeah. I love Sheila and Ron, the travel agents. They're husband and wife travel agents, and that's Fred Willard and Catherine O'Hara. And they're travel agents that have never left the city of Blaine, Missouri, which is the irony of that is fantastic. Corky's dance scene, where he's practicing his dance in his apartment. And I love the fact that all of the songs, because the last, say, 20 minutes of the movie is them basically performing this musical that Corky has written about the city of Blaine, and all the musical numbers in it are written by the guys from Spinal Tap. So Michael McKean, Christopher Guest, and Harry Shearer. And you've seen all these guys before. You saw, Michael McKean was in Laverne and Shirley. He played Saul's brother in Better Call Saul. Harry Shearer has been all over The Simpsons for years. And so these are really established, very good actors. So the fact that they end up, doing all of the music for this, and the songs are so funny and clever, and yeah, it's really well done. And yes, Crystal, that is correct. I can't think of the Daniel Levy's sister, Eugene Levy's daughter. She plays Twyla in Schitt's Creek as well. So yeah, it's a family affair in that show for sure. But yeah, it's a great, it's just a great movie. So anyway. But what else? Tell me more, Ann. Tell me more about your thoughts about this movie.
Well, one of the things that I liked about it is that if you've ever been in any sort of professional theater production, and I mean high school or college or civic theater, you can appreciate the earnest and the irony-free hard work of the cast and crew. And you get that earnestness, and the whole thing is ironic, though they have no idea, nor do they treat it with such reverence and respect. And in that way, you really love them. Like, they're kind of being made fun of, but at the same time, you're not making fun of them, because I mean, as a theater major in my undergrad, you're just like, I know exactly what you that's what you want. You want anybody in live theater, no matter if they're in elementary school or whatever, you want them to be so passionate about it, and they are.
Yeah. And it's just it's literally the most important thing you're doing at that moment, at that time in your life. It's the most important
The
thing.
most important thing. Yeah, and they treat and it's delightful. So,
Yeah.
and of course you can tell that, they're all actors, they're all professional actors, so they have all, they know. Anyway,
Well,
so I loved it.
And one of the things I think is fun is that they all do, and it's a testament to how good they are as actors, is that they do a fabulous job of acting poorly,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
they do. It's like, and it's awesome. It's awesome to see, because that is not necessarily an easy thing to do. And again, and like you said, they pull it off without mocking, without, I think, making fun of anybody, just saying that this is what this usually looks like.
Right.
And I think that's part of the beauty of it, is like, and you see that for like Fred Willard's character, especially, is that, this is super important to this couple, so much so that they practice, and they've been in all the productions, and that this is a big deal for them. This is their time to shine.
Yeah. Yeah, and they, it's got this sweetness to it. It's like when Parker Posey and Christopher Guest, they do the ingenue and the leading man, and they do their song "Penny for Your Thoughts."
Yes.
And Duncan's like, they're ridiculous in their pantomime and their acting, but when you listen to the song, it's such a sweet, tender, lovely song, and they treat it with so much love and tenderness in their terrible acting way. I'm like, it's so brilliant.
It's truth. It is truth. And yeah, so, the first time I saw this, I didn't know if I liked it, but the older I get, the more I like it, for so many different reasons. And that's one of the main reasons, is that, you can look back on what you've done when you were young and so forth, and be like, yeah, I remember that. And I can remember, I remember, I was like I can't remember. I was either working backstage or in one of the shows, and it was like my freshman year of college, and everybody was so excited and just, oh, this is the most important thing. And I just remember Mr. Bird sitting back there leaning against something in the scene shop, and he just looked so unimpressed. He's like, yep, on to the next, and for him, it wasn't, it was just, the next thing, and right. I think that's
done and dusted, next.
Done and dusted, on to the next. So, I know. Susan Nelson, Susie is with us, dude. Susie, you were there. You know what we're talking about. So yeah, no, great movie. Highly recommend it. It's a short flick, maybe an hour and a half tops. And watch it through the credits, because that's when you get to see the remains of the day lunchbox, which I just think is, I just laugh and laugh every time I think of that. I'm like, this is amazing. Who thinks of that?
Yeah, no, it's and then the thing is, like, if you haven't seen any of the other mockumentaries, then definitely go back and see Best in Show and This is Spinal Tap. I wasn't as big a fan of The Mighty Wind, though it is a very good movie, but I think I have a hard time going back between Waiting for Guffman and Best in Show, because I don't know which one. I like whichever one I'm watching, I like that one better. And then I see the other one again, I'm like, oh yeah, no, I like this one better. Oh, now, so they're both fabulous.
And
if you like dogs.
My favorite is Spinal Tap. I think, and again, the older I get, the more I love Spinal Tap. And the music in Spinal Tap is, the song Big Bottom is worth the price of admission. That is literally one of my favorite songs ever. But yeah, I would say Spinal Tap, because I just think it's hilarious. The rock and roll lifestyle, and they do a great job, with the music in that one as well. But again, for me, it's probably Spinal Tap, and then it's really close, Best in Show, and then Waiting for Guffman, and then Mighty Wind is good. The music in Mighty Wind is very good, though I don't think the story is as good. Yeah. So here's Susie chiming in about Mr. Bird. Yeah, never impressed. Ever.
He stopped being impressed 30 years before he met us. So
now I'm gonna say this. He actually complimented me once. I was working props for, I think it was Lion in Winter, and he asked me to make some drapes with a fleur-de-lis on them. So, and he just basically handed me some fabric and some spray paint and said, make this work. And he's like, I need a fleur-de-lis. So I literally had to go to the library and look up what a fleur-de-lis was, because I didn't know what it was, and I was too freaked out to ask him. So I went to the library and I looked it up and found a picture of it. And I made a cardboard cutout of it so that I could spray paint it. I just made a stencil of my own, spray painted it on there, and then figured out myself how to cut it and measure and hang it. And I did it all myself. And he really liked it. He's like, it looks damn good. I was like, what?
Jenny, you're the first one and the last one.
So yeah, and I was like, that's never gonna happen again. So I've never forgotten that because he said something nice to me. It was awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. So there you go. But so yeah. Anyway, we've had, I think, a good show. We talked about Moscato, and honestly, Anna, I don't think I can drink any more of this. It's starting to hurt my tummy.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say this is definitely something you want to drink in a group. Because if you can finish a bottle by yourself, I think you need to attend some special meetings anonymously.
Yeah, this Moscato is hurting my feelings.
It is, totally.
And I have a sweet tooth. I'm like, I love sugar a million, and this is too much.
Dang.
I know. I'm like,
I know. Usually, if I'm going to drink anything this sweet, it's got to be a milkshake. So
it needs to be. Maybe I'll put some ice cream in it. Maybe that'll help take the sweet down a little bit. What?
Got the sweet a little.
With some ice cream.
Oh man.
Oh, listen to this, Susie. Susie, I seriously changed my major to avoid theater history too. Like, oh
girl. Girl, I took them both. I discovered the secret to getting a B in theater history. Do not wear a bra.
There you go. There it is. Yeah. It's funny because I was not, I hung out in the theater all through college, but as a geo major, I never took any. The only theater class I took two. I took Introduction to Theater, and that's how I got involved in all this. This is Chris. Chris, why can't I think of your last name?
Purchase? No, it was
Chris.
I know it's because I had Parker Zellers for that.
No, and Chris was his. Why can't I think of your name? It's because I've had too much of this. Oh, look at this. Susie took theater history 3. Chris Foster. There we go. Ooh, I had to stop thinking about it. Chris Foster got me started in all this mess, and but I remember. So I hung out in the theater all the time, but I remember like the cram sessions that the theater history students would do together because they were all so terrified of that class. So yeah. Anyway, Susie, good job passing with the D+. And nope, not Chris. It's Chris Foster. I got it. So yeah. Anyway, that was there you go. So yeah, theater history was totally Mr. Bird's theater history class. No, and I also took a tech theater class with Mr. Bird, and I liked that class a lot. And that was I did well in that class, except apparently I draw the worst arrowheads he's ever seen. So
really, because that's where I learned the difference between a nail and a screw. I didn't realize they were two different things. I just thought you pounded them both in with your heel of your shoe. So I was like, those are two different things. Oh man! So
look at all the good stuff you learned taking Mr. Bird's tech theater class. So no, I thought that class was a blast. I loved it. So it was easy to get hours because I was still working backstage quite a bit at that point. It was fun.
Yeah.
Wait, what are you sending pictures of, Susie? Susie says she's sending pictures. Sending pictures of your transcript? Yes, I would agree. He was a brilliant technician. Absolutely. I learned a lot from him. I absolutely did. And I just, like I said, the dude always cracked me up. And I actually worked for Mr. Bird. I cleaned his house and helped him tend roses and stuff like that as I got farther into my career. So, yeah. So, good guy. I will always be appreciative.
If anything had happened to Laura Bird, you could have been Mrs. Bird number 3.
Really? I guess.
Yeah.
No, I will always have very fond memories and of Mr. Bird for sure. He's good dude in my book. Yes, the cram parties. Yeah, because I always felt kind of guilty because I would be going off to live my life, and all of the theater students, the theater history students would be going off to stay up all night to study for whatever horror final he had planned for you.
Yeah. The first day of class, there was this other girl named Angela there, and he's like talking like without, without hesitating for like the first 15 minutes, like just going on and on and on. And Angela raises her hand and she says, "Can you slow down?" And he looks at her and he said, "No." And then he just kept going. And I'm like,
Okay,
oh my
you know
God,
what?
we're all screwed.
The geology version of theater history was Steve Leduc's paleontology class. He was the same way. He would just come in with a stack of legal paper, yellow legal paper, and you would look and see how big that stack was, and then he would just start talking and just going through that stack, and then you would feverishly be writing notes and like looking at the stack. You're like, my God, and then you'd see him get down to like the last page. You'd be like, thank you, Jesus. Because there was no clock. I mean, the class was supposed to be an hour, and I don't think I ever got out of there in less than 90 minutes because he did not quit until he was done with that stack.
You could leave if you want. That was up to you.
Nope, none of us ever did. So you made sure that when Steve was teaching the class that you made time, make some time.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't have another class next. So.
No.
All
right. Well, I think we're done. So are we coming back on Sunday? We back on Sunday?
Yeah, why not?
All right.
Sure.
Well, we'll be back for some sort of brunchy thing on Sunday, early brunch, late brunch, somewhere in between. I have no idea. It'll be worth your time and energy though. So yeah.
Indeed.
So again, if you have any questions about movies, and again, you guys, if there's a movie you want us to talk about, oh, you know what, Ann, we need to talk about this devastating news we got for about this weekend.
Ugh, I'm so sad. I can't. I'm too
mad.
Okay.
All right. So anyway, Ann and I were so looking forward to this weekend because August 14th was supposed to be the release of Gerard Butler's Greenland, his newest disaster movie. And unfortunately, it's been COVID postponed. Now it's not coming out until September. So that was going to be our movie for next week.
25th.
Now,
September 25th. It's like COVID's not going to be over by then. Put it on Amazon Prime. I'll watch it for $7. Come on, people. Come on.
And I'm going to be honest with you. I would even watch it for $20 because $20 we would pay more for that in the theater with snacks. I would have paid $20 to see that movie on Prime. Yeah. Dang it. Because then we can watch bloated Gerard Butler talking like this and slurring his words because he's drunk. Dang it. So yeah. Anyway, so we'll be back Sunday. We'll talk about stuff. We'll let you know what we're talking about. But in the meantime, and we're getting to the waning days of summer. So everybody enjoy your remains of summer. Do something fun outside. Social distance. Wear your mask.
And, a couple people are going up to the UP to the so enjoy yourself on the lakeshore there.
Yes, and if you guys have if you guys have a movie you want us to talk about, a TV show you want us to talk about, something that you're into, let us know. We always like to talk, so good to go.
Yeah, exactly. We talk
Keep drinking that.
Stop drinking that.
Yeah. Get it away from me. Yeah.
I gotta keep watching it. I can't get it out of my mouth. Alrighty then.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. We will see you later. Have a great day. Enjoy your bar Thursday. Bye.